Yo, what's up, guys? Today we're ranking all of the 7 stars in all-star tower defense, and we're only ranking them against each other, guys. We're not factoring in any other units. All right, so most of the units are pretty much OP because they're 7 stars, so we're just gonna be ranking them against each other, not other units. So don't get mad if I put your favorite 7 star in A tier. That just means he's an A tier 7 star, not an A tier unit. Anyways, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button right now because we're getting our new 300k sub code unit very soon. Right now, it has been approved to be Shenron. So if you guys want Shenron, let me know down below. If you want me to switch it up, which we still can, let me know as well. And remember to hit the subscribe button because I'm only sending out the code to subscribers. So if you're not subscribed, you will not get the code. All right, guys, let's go hop on in and let's go take a look at all the 7 stars. All right, here we go. Let's start off with one of the new ones. You get this guy in the new Stardust banner. All right, so here we go. The guy is Diavolo from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. All right, so the nice thing about him is he actually is half decent on start. So if you gave him the Fire Rage Orb, boys, he is a $1,000 unit. All right, and he does bleed at the start, which is actually pretty spicy. All right, here we go. We'll spawn in some enemies. There you go, guys. He is bleed. And the nice thing, guys, he's actually, I believe, the highest damage bleed unit in the game. All right, so if we go max him all the way out at max level, guys, he's doing 3.3 million with leader bonus. All right, and then also the other nice thing about him is his ability is insane. All right, so I'm gonna go place him in the back and I'll show you what his ability does. All right, so it's basically the most broken ability of all time. All right, here we go. So let's go spawn in some enemies, and I believe it does factor in the full map. So we'll spawn in some enemies. All right, so what it does, we're going to click the button. All right, there we go. Erase. You see, it teleports the enemies back. You see how they're all back at the start, as well as a time stop. So it's basically a pretty busted OP ability. And he also has the highest bleed damage in the game. Now, the only downside with him is you can only place 1. All right, so this is good enough to put him in the S tier. If you are doing leaderboards, you must have him. He's also just a straight up good unit for damage in infinite mode. Next up, guys, we have Kurama. All right, to get Kurama, you basically just have to beat the new star pass. All right, so you need this guy right here, and then you need Sasuke. All right, and that's going to form the new Kurama. Now, Kurama is not that great in story mode. They nerfed his starting damage like 20 minutes after release, so he's actually pretty doo-doo. However, he has one of the highest DPSs in the game, guys, 17 million without buff. Definitely one of the most OP in the game, basically allowing you to easily damage farm. All right, you see my damage already, and just pretty much just straight up slay, man. He is definitely busted, and that's actually pretty cool with the effects from Diavolo out the back. Definitely a highly recommended unit, guys. I do believe he's not quite S tier in my opinion. I don't think he's gonna be meta for long. He is currently definitely one of the best units though, so I'm gonna give him a solid A tier. All right, we'll put him in the A tier. I don't believe he's technically the best damage unit in the game, so not quite the best. All right, next up, guys, we have Broly 7 star. Now, Broly 7 star is not that good for story. All right, so for story, he's going to be doing, honestly, probably about 4 million. So, I mean, it's not the worst in the world, but it's not the greatest in the world. All right, now what really makes him OP is this last thing right here. Basically making him full AoE with 38 million damage. Basically a automatic light Yagami. All right, pretty busted OP. Definitely one of the higher DPS units in the game. However, I don't quite think he is the best. He's not the best DPS anymore. However, he's very, very easy to use. Has great damage. Honestly, guys, since he's not the best DPS, we have to knock him down a tier. So I'm going to give him an A tier unit. Also, he is no longer obtainable. So good luck getting him. Or maybe he'll come back in the Stardust banner eventually. We're just not sure. So this is good enough, in my opinion, to give him A tier. Decent, but again, he is unobtainable. All right, next up we have the Kogan Adult Beast. Now, this is actually, I believe, the highest DPS unit in the game. The main reason is because you can actually place 8. And guess what? He also gains damage every single wave. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, he basically gets an extra 1 to 2 million damage after this as well. Basically doubling his damage, basically making him pretty much straight broken for damage. He definitely is the highest damage unit in the game. The only problem is, as you can see, his attack type is not full AoE like a lot of the other 7 stars. So you have to kind of strategically use him. However, since he is the best damage unit in the game, for leaderboards, we got to give him the S tier. All right, next up, we got Zorro. All right, Zorro. Zorro is a pretty solid unit. Again, though, he is unobtainable. All right, he's fairly cheap. He also hits airs, which is pretty spicy. All right. And if we take a look, guys, he has one of the highest damage for bleeds units. Now, you're going to notice it's not as high as Diavolo's. However, he does hit airs. And I don't believe Diavolo does. Yeah, Diavolo does not hit airs. So he has the highest bleed damage unit for airs. And honestly, he's a very, very cheap unit and very decent unit. All right. The only problem with him, guys, is his upgrades are not quite the best for story mode. They're not, honestly, like, you might as well be using Pirate King for that. So we're gonna have to drop him down a few tiers. I'm gonna give him B tier. All right, I don't necessarily recommend going for him. He's all right. Honestly, I might just rock out with Diavolo, except if you're doing air mode. All right, next up, guys, we got Sasuke. All right, Sasuke is basically Obito, but worse. The only reason I would ever have him equipped on your team is if you're doing some sort of air mode leaderboard, or if you just or if you want to bring this guy as well. All right. So, because if you do bring this guy, you have to bring him. All right. So the big problem with him is he's actually worse than Obito in most respects. So yeah, if you take a look, guys, 3 million, Obito actually does more. However, and I believe Obito also has a way faster SPA. So he's basically a worse Obito that hits airs. That can also turn to Susanoo. Now, Susanoo is a big advantage. We do gotta give him some credit. But as far as on his own, I don't really recommend going for him, except for the fact that he's free. So he's basically a free Obito, except you have to summon it in the Star Pass. So not really free. So I'm honestly probably gonna drop him down to like C or D tier. I don't think he's the worst. But again, guys, since Obito does exist, he's not really required. And I don't know if Beast Spawner's quite leaderboards. So we're gonna have to give him the C tier. Next up, guys, we got our boy Metal Cooler. All right, now Metal Cooler is the dungeon mode king. He is completely cracked out for infinite mode. I mean, he's okay for infinite mode and not leaderboard at all, but he's completely cracked out because of the self-clone ability. Basically, it smacks bosses and does really well with multiple paths. Because if there's 4 paths, he'll spawn 4 per time, basically doing 88 million. It's insane, guys. He scales very well with multiple path game modes. So definitely a pretty sweet unit overall. Honestly, like, maybe you want to take a look at him for double path infinite leaderboards. I'm not sure about that one, but low key, guys, he is a pretty solid unit and definitely a requirement if you want to do raids very easily. So I'm gonna give him S tier, guys. If you want to beat raid mode, you might as well get him. And honestly, you kind of need him to unlock everybody else, because most of them require like evolution materials that require you to beat raid modes. So I definitely recommend you guys try to go rock out with Metal Cooler as soon as possible. Next up, guys, we have Cell. Now I don't have Cell equipped, I don't think. So, oh my gosh, I'll just show you guys his stats. All right, the problem with him is he's basically a worse version of Beast Gohan. All right, look at his stats, and then you saw Beast Gohan stats, and he doesn't get damage per wave. However, he is free from the battle pass. Not really battle pass, the battle road, which is sort of like a battle pass. So he is a free 7-star, which isn't too bad, but overall kind of mid. And honestly, guys, I don't really see a time where you would even want to use him for the leaderboards, or even in like any mode right now. So I'm gonna have to give him a D tier. I just don't see people using him for anything anytime soon. All right, next up, guys, we got Blue Vegeta. All right, now Blue Vegeta is good, but you're gonna notice something, guys, and that is he's very similar to Broly. All right, however, if you take a look at the DPSs. All right, we'll calculate the DPSs right on. We could just calculate them right now, but again, yeah, I'll calculate them right now, guys. All right, so this guy does we'll do, okay, I'll just calculate the DPS right now. All right, this guy at level 175 does 3 million times 8. So that's 24 million DPS, guys, divided by 10. So that would be 2.4 million DPS overall. Yeah, 2.4 million DPS. Yeah, so DPS, 2.4 million. All right. But if we take a look at Broly's, Broly is doing only 2.4 million. So they're basically the same. However, Broly does have more range. And overall, guys, they're both good. They're basically the same thing. However, these guys actually do cost more if you want to max out all 8. So, and you only have to place one Broly, which is actually kind of a benefit, but Broly does cost 10 million. So I'd honestly say Broly is definitely better than Vegeta for most respects. However, the nice thing about Vegeta is you can't use him with Vegeto. So that's actually a pretty big benefit because they did buff Vegeto. So we kind of have to give them the same tier because of that. However, you would have to equip a Goku then. So maybe not. So again, I don't know. Either one is good, guys. They're basically the same, whatever you're rocking with. But I do think Vegeta is getting like Vegeto, etc. So I definitely think that you might want to rock out with. I think Blue might have a slight edge over Broly right now. But it's debatable. I'm gonna give them the same tier. Next up, guys, we got Naruto. Now the nice thing about Naruto is I'll compare him to Metal Cooler real quick. All right, so Metal Cooler 15k. All right, look at these upgrades, guys. Very, very spicy. All right, 20k, so about the same. And look at the damage, guys. So he's doing way more damage, double the damage, but doesn't have the ability. So that's the trade-off, and more range. So that's actually pretty spicy, even though it does cost slightly more. And the other nice thing about him is this right here, guys. His starting thing, 18 million. Starting thing, 10,000. I mean, 18,000 to 10,000. All right. Very nice damage at the start. Very spicy. So honestly, guys, this guy actually pretty good for raid modes as well. So he's definitely has a little bit more usage than Sasuke. But again, the one thing about Sasuke that is nice is he starts out really nice for raids if you give him the Fire Rage Orb. So I'm actually going to go drop him off. He's kind of like... Honestly, I kind of feel bad. I'm going to actually bring Sasuke a little bit higher just because he's actually really good as a starter unit for raids, but he's only good for the first like couple waves. So it's hard to say. Like, he's decent, but is he really worth the spot on your team? Maybe not. And then we have Naruto. I'm going to give Naruto for infinite mode, he kind of sucks. Not the greatest in the world. But for like story mode, he's decent. So I'm going to probably give him another B tier. And then we'll give Perfect Cell C tier. So I think that's pretty fair. So there you go, guys. Those are all the 7 stars. This is my ranking. You guys let me know what you think about the rankings. I think it's pretty fair. But if you guys, you know, if I didn't show love to your favorite unit, let me know down below in the comments, guys. And make sure you hit the subscribe button. Use star code BLAM whenever buying Robux or Premium. And yes, guys, big code coming soon. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also, sorry if I messed up at all in this video. It is literally 3 a.m.